Yo, so let me cut straight to the chase. So this summer we were on vacation and we spent one of our days at Universal Studios Hollywood, and that one day cost me over $1,000 for about 10 hours at the theme park. Now, if you break that down, that is about $100 per hour to go to this theme park for a group of 4 people. I'm gonna go ahead and break down how we spent $1,000 plus in one day at the park right now.
And I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo.
Hey, this Raggedy Globe's supposed to be spinning. You on the movie walkway. You on the red carpet. You on the red carpet. So before we got to the park, we bought the tickets online. This was July the 4th weekend. We went on Sunday. The tickets were $154 per person. You do that times 4. That's going to give you $616 before you even get inside of the theme park. Then when we got to the park, parking was about $35. That brings our total up to $650. Now, even though we've spent almost $700 just to get in the front door, I will say Universal Studios is always a ton of fun, and this day at the theme park, I don't even think we did half of the stuff that they had at the theme park. We did not ride half of the rides, and this is my 3rd time going to Universal Studios in Hollywood. My first time I went to Universal Studios in Hollywood, I spent well over $1,000 because I bought 2 tickets with the VIP tour, which the VIP tour by itself is $400 plus ticket entry. So I think those tickets by themselves with the VIP tour was $1,000 in itself. But when you get inside the front door at Universal Studios, you know you're gonna have an excellent and fun time. I've been to Universal Studios 4 times and I have never had a bad experience inside of the park, aside from maybe the line at the park being ridiculously long for a few rides. As the last ride that we rode today, we were in that line for about an hour, but that's not horrible. I just want to buy snacks and ice creams.
I was gonna tell you to throw that food away in the car.
So food, if you want to have kind of like a liberal and just free budget with food and not really be worried about how much you're spending, I'd say about $60 per person is going to be an adequate amount of money for you and your party. Probably about $20 for lunch and $20 for dinner. I would recommend eating lunch at the park and then probably getting breakfast somewhere else outside of the park. I really don't like Universal Studios food that much unless you go to one of their like high-end restaurants, which I don't even know if they have any high-end restaurants at Hollywood. Universal Studios over in Orlando, they do have some really good restaurants inside of the park, but aside from that, most of the food at Universal Studios is mediocre. If you don't believe me, just go on Google Maps and pull up the restaurants at Universal Studios. Most of them have like 3 out of 5 stars because the food is trash. Even at the 3 broomsticks. I'm just gonna say it. Even at the 3 broomsticks, that food is mediocre. Now, after you've had your lunch, expect to spend about $20 at lunch. I would tell you guys to go to City Walk when the park is closed and get dinner, or get dinner later at City Walk. City Walk does have better restaurants than they have inside of the park with better food. And then when you're inside the park, expect to spend about $20 a person on snacks. If you guys are there all day, getting something like a bottle of water and maybe some ice cream and a butterbeer, just those 3 things by themselves is gonna run you about $20. We did not buy any souvenirs inside of the park because most of the stuff, I'm like, yo, I probably would not wear this stuff outside in the real world just because I wear tank tops. I wear tank tops and athletic t-shirts like 90% of the times. If they sold more tank tops at Universal Studios, I would love to buy some Super Mario tank tops or some Harry Potter tank tops because I pretty much live at the gym. But because they don't have any tank tops in the park, I literally walked through every single store, every single shop, searching for a tank top. But they had nothing available. I guess they had some shirts that I could buy and probably cut up into tank tops. What I found is that when you go to City Walk outside of Universal Studios, once again, they do have some some clothing stores that have better clothing options than they have inside the park. Now shopping, I went to Nike and I spent $100 on sweatpants. So if we go through all of these totals, we spent $650 just to get inside the park, plus spent another $240 on food, snacks, drinks, ice cream, and candy. That's $900 plus another $100 that I spent just on sweatpants. Brings our total up to over $1,000 for the day. Now, do I think that this is worth it? Because $1,000 is pretty high. And during this vacation, we stayed in Las Vegas at the biggest resort in North America, and we spent less than $1,000 to stay there for 5 days. And you can do a lot of stuff for $1,000, but sadly, theme parks are just expensive now. I think almost any theme park in the U.S. is charging about $70 to $100 on average, and that's not including Disney or Universal Studios. That's like Busch Gardens, Six Flags, Dollywood, Cedar Point. Like, these parks are charging $60 to $100 just to go in. So I know Universal Studios is always like a level above all the other theme parks. So for me, it makes sense to pay an extra $50 a day per person to get into parks like this. Now, there's way more stuff at the Universal Studios in Orlando, way more rides, bigger setups, more hotels, way more stuff to do at the park, more stuff at City Walk. So if you're going to really, splurge, if you're going to get that VIP tour or get express passes, I would save that for a trip to Universal Studios Orlando and not do it in Hollywood so much. The park in Hollywood is really small compared to the setup they have in Orlando, but still you will have a ton of fun at Hollywood regardless of the size of the park. For a one-day trip, this is a ton of fun. I think making this a 2-day trip might be pushing it. And even while we were at the park, they had a buy one day get one day free special, and you can go back for the second day any time of year. So we could go back in 3 months and go back for free. So I think they know that not many people come back to Hollywood very often. They just go one time and they want to get people in that park to spend more money on food and shopping. But yep, that's it. I definitely think this trip is worth $1,000 for one day. And if you can pull that off for your family, definitely go ahead and take them out to Universal Studios in Hollywood.